children to do this year. The Queen Quet coming on her live from Tampa, Florida, and things like that. And so glad for Villa on the Creek Show and things like that. What they call the River Walk down here in Tampa, Florida. And you know, wherever me to go, me to have to find some of we family and things like that. And some of 100 children who did it on Gullah Geechee Nation Facebook fan page and 100 Yeti Gullah Geechee Rhythm Radio, 100 Yeti this voice of plenty of time and things like that. This is the artist Red King Danto. RD, how hard to do?
How to do fine, quick, man. I'm so glad to be here.
And it's so glad if I have on a y'all for see on a y'all for truth. You see? And so a lot of times, as y'all hear me say and post often on Facebook, a lot of folks say, well, folks who are on Facebook, they don't come out in the real world. That they're all these people who have imaginary lives that they're living on social networks and that they don't really network in real life. But I got to give this man here credit. I've heard a lot of people run up to me, Queen Quet, I'm such a big fan of yours. And I don't know who they are. If you're such a big fan of mine, I should know who you are. You know why? Because you should have a Gullah Geechee Sea Island Coalition membership. You should be part of our fundraisers. I should have seen you at multiple Gullah Geechee events, someplace, somehow, as much as I move around. I should have seen you more than one time on or offline. This one, I don't know if I should say fan or stalker. Because definitely, and I definitely said RD is a PR person. I keep telling everybody that if I go ahead and just get $1 million budget for PR, if you want a job, you are hired. Because definitely you have to be the biggest fan of Gullah Geechee TV there is. You have to be the biggest fan of Gullah Geechee Rhythm Radio there is. I mean, a lot of folks tell me that they listen and they see me and they go, oh, I know who you are. But I mean, as far as promoting it, not just listening to it yourself. So I really appreciate that.
No, thank you for everything you post. And you know, I'm trying to work towards my doctorate on Gullah Geechee.
I know that's right.
And I know I've been late, so as I said, get my master's from Gullah Geechee Radio.
Yes.
But I do try to share with I don't try. I share with family, make sure everybody, not only family, but anybody I know. There are a lot of people, lawyers I know, listen to you. I know everybody. Some people don't want to. Some people, you know, just they don't want to get into it.
Right.
To the point they see every one of your videos, and I know a lot of people who are dealing with international law, going to law school, that watch you.
That's excellent.
So there's plenty of people around the world we know, but that I know personally from all over the world. New Zealand.
Excellent. Yes.
I know firsthand somebody. And some people are just very timid. They don't want to come to chat. Yeah. And some go to guests, but they get the archives. Right. They get the archives too. And I had a classmate, a schoolmate I haven't seen in years, but a good schoolmate, a good friend, who's like a sister. She let her know. She says, well, you know, he talks to people all the time, and he's always like, why don't you send the information? I'm like, why did you send? I send you directly. So it was good though.
But that is wonderful.
It's done a lot of leaking and a lot of information. A lot of people that I'm finding out, you know, in my family, in my lineage, even in New York, I'm finding people that will say, well, you know, my mother was from Savannah area, or my father was from this area, and they used to call them Geechee because of the rights. They said they was such a, you know, some of the so-called stereotypes, they're over 6'8", so they have to be, you know, just, you know. But it's amazing how they will go, oh yeah, well, now it's the end thing, so they're happy.
Right, exactly. So now it's like, well, I know you here with the Queen, so now I can get connected.
And it's like, but it's amazing to, and then once you open that gateway, everything starts coming where little pieces of the story come, or some people will say, well, you know, because I have another aunt that will history and doing that and linking. She loves it, and we'll call and email. Did you get this? Did you get this? And she's been to, when you've been on my show before, she's been in the chat as I think she was in as guest listening in. Right. And then she called me. Oh, that was really good.
And it's so interesting because, like, I have a lot of aunts. They're not internet savvy. Yeah. So what's been wonderful is having the cousins who are internet savvy. Their children and their grandchildren who will bring their computer out and say, she's on now. Y'all gotta listen. Well, how you listen to her? What knob we done? They're like, no, it's on the computer, you know. And they're like, really? And then they'll write me afterwards and say, oh, I listened to your show, it was great, this and that, I'm glad you touched on this. Or what cracks me up is when Gullah Geechees tell me, oh yeah, I enjoyed when you said this, but you know you left out. And I'm like, look here, ain't that I don't know that the show ain't but an hour long, so we can't put everything in there. And that's why you need to tune in some more. But what also is wonderful is putting the images up on Gullah Geechee Nation's Facebook fan page and have people connect to it.
Yeah.
I mean, just putting a Sea Island sunset on there and seeing how many comments we get back. And so one of the days, of course, was my little Christmas in the summertime, my Kwanzaa in the summertime, when this man promised he had some gifts for the Gullah Geechee Garden. Now, all kind of folks make jewelry for me. They come to events, they present it. I have, as people call them, dream catchers. You do sun catchers. I've had power shields and all that. But they're usually small. So when he said to me, y'all, I'm going to make some sun catchers for the Gullah Geechee Garden, I expected it to be enhanced. I expected it to be larger. I didn't expect a box of things this big, you know, with a lot of weight to them, that's sturdy, that's going to last forever. True artwork. And I mean, powerful with the crystals, and then the explanation of all the crystals. So now today, y'all get to tune in with me as I get a little more Christmas and Kwanzaa going on here.
1.5.
Right now. Right. Kwanzaa 1.5. All right, this Kwanzaa 1.5. Y'all was there for Kwanzaa 1. Let me see my goodies. When my interviewee showed up, I was told that I had more gifts. So now, y'all, if it's something illegal, the camera just gonna go black. No, we just play it. But definitely, it's wonderful to know the dynamics and the range of art. Sing, you do collage artwork.
Acting, that was my thing, singing, acting. And I took like a little thing. I got to blow. I had a crazy show on, talk to with some comedy stuff, but I've taken like a little bitty break, and I said it's time to get back into it. But for years, it's all about singing, acting, music.
So is your art what brought you down to Tampa, Florida?
No, I just was one of those times where I was like visiting, and I'm like, I'll just kind of stay here, and I got stuck. So yes, people from Atlanta, New York, and that's what I would claim. I can't. Well, I'm not gonna say.
Can't officially claim Florida. You're a transplant.
This is like I gotta look around before they try to do something.
But you're a transplant. We got you. But then your family's Gullah Geechee roots come out of South Carolina.
Yes, they do. On my mother's side, my father's side, and like we're related to Mary McLeod earlier. Her mother's sister was my great-grandfather's mother, I believe. Is it the great or great-great? I get it mixed up because it was like one of those weird lineage, but it's whatever. The two sisters. One of the sisters was Mary McLeod Bethune's mother. The other sister was my great-grandmother or great-great-grandmother.
Okay, got it.
One of the grandmothers by great.
Excellent. So now, no wonder you would be connected to history. So I'm sure Mary McLeod Bethune is proud that you continue to do that. This is outstanding.
This is just a regular snow-cap amethyst or what to bring. It's kind of like a promissory for the upcoming thesis. The rest of the stuff with the Great Kuda coming, and I have a Sea Island catch that I'm working on. So you have that. So you will have, these are the three, this is the beginning of, the first half was kind of one-dimensional. This is the gateway to the 3D stuff you're going to be getting.
All right, and this is going to be the power crystal.
That's the power crystal. That's for you to travel with it, use it or whatever. If you want to take,
outstanding. And of course, all y'all know is purple, because purple is my official color of the nation. Purple and gold, or indigo and white, as y'all see us in our indigo and white chairs. And now, tell them, what is the power behind amethyst?
Well, I know people with amethyst, and I'm still learning a little more, but I know it's supposed to be a very good meditation crystal. A lot of people, I know people that I've just taken these as gifts, and I have another aunt who does the Reiki thing, and she's very much in the crystal. So I asked her, I want to let me know how it goes on, let me know how they feel, when you use them, because it's a lot that I learned. I just go on intuition saying what will work best, what will go in, and so with amethyst also, I know people are given to sleep under the pillow if they do, or just travel, meditate, put in the car, as far as I know, but a lot of people that know a little bit more. So I always go for
vision.
Yes.
Yeah,
very,
absolutely.
And most cultures also have Cherokee lineage, but a lot of the people, all indigenous cultures use these. Everybody,
they have different types of herbs as well as crystals and things that some people call charms. Some folks will call charms, but in our world, they are healing crystals.
And this is your djembe.
Look at that, y'all.
This is I hope it's not too spicy.
Oh, powerful.
Yeah, these are your...
Oh, this is great. Now, see, this is why I'm glad I'm opening this on the air. I did not look at this stuff beforehand because he said, here's your djembe in the box. And I'm like, oh, now the brothers start making drums. So I'm like all ready to be like, oh, I'm going to be taking this on the road. He going to see us going to be playing the djembe. Well, I'm going to have to lick a skin cross there to actually play it. But this is outstanding. I have never seen anyone crystallize a djembe before.
Yeah, this is copper, and this is the same thing copper as many Egyptians, or you know, even in a lot of the going to the West African culture with the welding of metals. We've got copper, citrine, which is positive power. This is citrine, the lapis lazuli. A lot of indigenous African cultures know about that. And aventurine. A lot of, the same that they go with the others, that they use the same stones to go with the Gullah Geechee colors, but use them in there to go with the rest of your
the power and the energy. Yes, and so as y'all see, you just heard that the Gullah Geechee Nation's colors. You have the green here, you have the gold, you have the blue, and so when you have the green, it's for the land. All right, and then when you have the gold, that's for not only the black gold that we would call, but also the Carolina gold, what we now punting thing like that thing, and Hona chilling that never yet that before then Hona Alpha blind back in some of these other rest of my wine cover. And then the blue is to represent all the water, because the water to bring we up, the water going to take we back, but also the indigo that our ancestors grew. And as you just mentioned, the metalwork. And so blacksmithing, and the blacksmiths always were creative people. And interestingly enough, I'm going to start calling this my Cato drum. Because the reason being is that when Cato, who was, as you were on the water now, was along the Stono River, and he was enslaved in the area now that's the Johns Island, Hollywood, Ravenel area. And so when they learned that the Spanish king of La Florida had put out the call that if any, quote, Negroes escape Carolina, and make it to La Florida and convert to Catholicism, they shall be manumits and given arms and land. Well, what Cato and those did is chronicled that they not only made their weapons, then they made their drums, and then they started to march. And so in order to be able to make weapons, they had to be blacksmiths. And they were Angolan men. And that was the reason the Angolans came in. So I'm definitely going to be calling this the Cato drum. That's going to be central to the Gullah Geechee garden. So now, Hunter Children and Yeti, but all the other rest of the thing, if y'all want to see the other images, y'all going to have to go to Gullah Geechee Nation Facebook fan page and look through all them thousands of pictures to find them. Or you can come to the Gullah Geechee Garden, which is on St. Helena Island, where the Gullah Geechee Sea Island Coalition has a headquarters, which is where this drum is going to be headquartered. Because Cato and those were trying to come southward to Florida, so they had to come from Charleston County along the Stono River to make their way past Beaufort County, where St. Helena is, to continue through Georgia coast and then into Florida, like you did, running for freedom. But still bringing the drum along. So definitely this is so beautiful and so powerful. And all the accents all the way through.
That's just extra citrine crystals. So when it hits the sun, it's got that little bling.
And that power comes back. So, and again, solar power. When we look at us and consider ourselves people of the sun, people don't realize how true that is and how much that sun power.
The energy. Just like, people don't, other thing too, I have a lot of aloe plants that grow, but when you look at it, put it out in the sun, almost like chlorophyll, those plants, when you see them deepen and the sun and the water, it's the same thing with us, And
if they break, instead of falling apart, aloe plants can regenerate and you can use the part that comes off the heel.
Oh, I totally
so when you say just like us, literally just like us, because there's so many different parts of our culture and our cultural community that are sort of broken off and splintered out, and folks have moved and migrated. Like you mentioned New York, you mentioned Atlanta, your family, and so many of our viewers are in New York and Atlanta now, and some are here in Florida, and a lot of the cities came for work, came looking for
a lot of Caribbean people from the South moving up to, a lot of people always talk about a big migration from, I think it's like Mississippi, Alabama into Michigan, but a lot of course, everybody in New York,
Yeah, they migrated straight up the East Coast, and that's how the Great Dog would run. So it went straight up the East Coast. The Amtrak was straight up the East Coast, and from the Deep South, Mississippi, Louisiana, all those places, they either went west, because again, train ran that way, or they went north of them, which would end up in Detroit, Chicago. So you got a lot of folks that are in those areas that are still Geechees, but Geechee and not knowing it sometimes, because a lot of them, when they left running, literally, and didn't know, and a lot of them came from sharecropping backgrounds in the Deep South, when with Gullah Geechees were landowners. And so a lot of times it's interesting to see what folks know, what they don't know, and how the connections are made. But again, like I was looking here at the Riverwalk, and I've traveled so many places that are Riverwalk, we're actually at Harbor Island, y'all. And so it's interesting that this is a Harbor Island here in Tampa, because it's Harbor Island, of course, in Beaufort County, South Carolina as well, right next to St. Helena. But the Harbor Island next to St. Helena was not a real island. So if y'all go there to stay in that gated area, know that that was actually a sand dune. And this man spent $50,000 in sand to build it up, to then build these condos on it, to then gate it off. Can you believe that? And so it's interesting that, you know, you have along these working waterways now. All of these people are now interested in making working waterways. And I said, well, ours never stopped working. Because in the Gullah Geechee Nation, we always adapted, we migrated along pathways that generally would end us back near some water. So even in big cities, even in New York, you got the Hudson River, as polluted as it is, we have it. And you know, it was interesting this morning because Sister Majora Carter, who is a great environmentalist, and she did a lot of work in the Bronx, in New York, she was the keynote speaker for the Restore America's Estuaries Conference this morning. And so even then, when people think of New York, you don't think of estuaries, you don't think of water, but it is there, the Hudson River, right? You know, and again, New York and Charleston were like this during the transatlantic slave trade.
Wall Street and
Charleston, Wall Street and Charleston. And so we still have a lot of folks that have a home in New York, have a home in Charleston, business people and everything. But a lot of time when Hunter chilling the kind on the cracky tea, the other rest of term what it did anything like that, like a we, they call it Geechee Nation and thing like that. But see, that's why we have all our social networks, we have our human network that's still going on, so that even as little pieces of the Gullah Geechee Nation might broke off and go somewhere and regenerate. Brings that healing power, brings that healing energy. So now, since you've been down here in Florida, in this part of Florida anyway, have you found any enclaves of Gullah Geechees down here, or they ain't talking?
Not really.
They might be here.
But no, I found a couple of people I know will say, you know, our family's from Savannah, our family's from, and you know, sometimes it's called, some people, I don't think they really know to the extent, like what lineage. If you come from Savannah, you know, where exactly, where exactly, and then, you know, because, you know, Beaufort, what is it, right across the bridge and everything. We used to go to Tybee Island, like from Atlanta for like a couple of vacation things, you know, just, but I'm looking and I'm really seeing people that once you, like I said, if you open the door and ask, like, well, ask your parents, and I'm not talking to people that are like 20, 30, we're talking 50, 60s. I'm telling them, ask your you know, did your parents ever say
that you were Gullah
or this? Well, you know, they have some ways, and all of a sudden, you know, that comes, but there are very few, but get this, there are, I think there are more whites that would actually know that they know.
They do. And it's interesting because there's the Geechee River in Georgia. And so you have a lot of Anglo people that grew up on the Geechee River that they're nicknamed Geechee because of the river. They are not Gullah Geechee in terms of the Gullah Geechee Nation, let's be clear. Okay. But they got that nickname. And so you have a lot of Anglo whites that Anglos that are in Georgia that will say, oh, I'm a Geechee. But they mean it from that side of it. Their family came from the Geechee River. And then, of course, they were river people like we are. Now, what's interesting, though, is have you yet watched, there's a new documentary, any of y'all can watch it from anywhere. Florida TV just released a documentary on the Gullah Geechee Nation Seminoles. You didn't watch the whole thing
I didn't get this, I booked it.
All right,
I'm watch it tonight.
But you guys did not. All right, so we won't chat about it yet. I wanted to know your opinion had you seen it, but I'd love to know all of your opinions as you watch it. It's airing this week, so I thought it was Divine Order. It's going to be on PBS here in Florida throughout the week, but it starts to tell the story about the Gullah Geechee Nation and its Seminole connections and the Underground Railroad connection. So it finally links, and in 27 minutes, it is powerful. It is a piece that is bookends. I know you've seen Gullah Wars on YouTube. So Gullah Wars on YouTube with this documentary about the Florida Gullah Geechee Seminole Underground Railroad connection. These two are bookends. you watch one, you watch the other, you now would have traversed hundreds of years of black history, our story, indigenous American story, and truly the foundation of what they call the United States. Because you're talking about people who are freedom seekers and what they did over time to declare their freedom, all the way from chattel enslavement up to human rights. Because it was very powerful the way producer Teresa Morrisburg put together all the material to show from Cato and Knowles in Carolina all the way down to Fort Mose, and then all the way down to Red Bays and Andros, and touching on Key Biscayne and the areas here. Yeah, and explore the Keys. And so it's powerful.
And the language, you know, I've talked to my other family, my Jamaican family.
Yes.
They're like, the commonalities, I guess, between the language are just so strong. They're like, you know, I can understand stuff.
Please, people from Bacayard all the time coming to me, they'll talk, oh, they're from Bacayard? They said, no. They're from the islands. Which one? They said the Sea Islands. What is that? They said the Gullah Geechee Nation. The Gullah Geechee Nation, where that? Then when you stop and tell them all the islands, they think what they were again, they say, oh, stop it. No islands there, and all of these kind of things. You're from Bacayard, you know what? Crack your teeth and tell me so. And we're like, no, we're Gullah Geechee, y'all Jamaicans. We are cousins. Yeah. You know, so those links are there, and that's why I think it's so critical. All these different documentaries now, all this information on YouTube, that's really bringing the world together. And so definitely, we wanted to make sure that y'all see how we're bringing all the Gullah Geechee diaspora together. That we still beating the drum, we still bringing in the power, and that definitely the spirit of Cato yet lives, because you still have freedom seekers today. So I'm so glad that Red King Danto, that Hunter still raining down here. You know, if this year the Queen Quet, where else I could be but with the king, right on the water and things like that. And so glad to have you here in person. And the next time y'all see him on the show, we will be giving him a degree from the International University of the Gullah Geechee Nation. This is one of the top students. He do extra credit and all. And then, you know, he tried to be the teacher's pet sometimes too, but that don't work with me. And if my students on the colleges, y'all can write them and tell them, ain't gonna work. All right, but definitely we appreciate you. Your work is outstanding, and we can't wait till Hunter come up to one of the festivals with all the Hunter things for sale out there for the family and things like that, so they can get some of this your power too. And so, any last words to the viewers?
Just keep watching Gullah Geechee TV. This is my addiction. I don't have a drug addiction.
That's a good thing. This Gullah Geechee TV is your high.
That's right.
Definitely, that's all right. So I guess he'll be hitting this episode a few extra times, y'all. So definitely on a chiller, my guest Red King Danto, this year the Queen Quet, head from the body of the Gullah Geechee Nation, and if Hunter deal with me, Hunter going to know that this year the what going on. Peace and blessings, and of course, power.
Mm-hmm.